And it's truly a pleasure for me to be here today and to get a chance to present a few restoration projects that had been conducted in Stairway in Art Nouveau Center in Ålesund. This remarkable staircase is one of the most beautiful we have in Norway, and is a part of the whole building, which is today a cultural property of the national interest. Just because of that, we have no doubt that the staircase should be exposed and used by our visitors, which number has grown to 40,000 in the last few years. But as you know, there are many challenges that usually appear when putting heritage to use in that way. So here, for them who don't know, it's our building where we have our museum and offices, and it's a unique example of Art Nouveau architecture in Norway. Originally, it was built in 1907 as a pharmacy and the home of the pharmacist family. Original drawing that shows that building consists in fact of two single entities. The southern part, which was designed to business premises, and which is today Art Nouveau Center. And this is a southern part. And the northern part, which was intended to rent. There are two similar staircases in these two parts, and this one is that one I will present today. We have, of course, mentioned one of the best architects at the time, Hagbard Schuteberg, who designed not only exterior but the whole interior of the building to its small details. And here I want to show you some of the most beautiful details, such as a pharmacy, which is today museum shop, stained glass window representing a landscape, and finally the fantastic staircase, wooden staircase that I will talk more about today. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any original drawing of the staircase, and that is the reason that I have to show you newer drawings today. But here we can show the winding stairs that extends from the ground floor upwards to the first and second floor. The staircase is unique in its form and has been executed in a combination of oak, pine, and mahogany. Oak and pine are usually materials very useful for construction elements, and here we can see it on the threads and baluster and string, while mahogany is often associated with the high quality and luxury. And here we can see mahogany on the handrail and this starting newel, which is very much decorated. On the right side, we can see an overview of the projects that has been done from the 1950 until today. But the first interventions in the house, unfortunately, was not considered so much of the original materials. So that the first huge restoration project was done in 2002, 2003, when the building was given a new function of Art Nouveau Center. From 2012, we are facing a problem related to the staircase stability and sinking, so that the project that was done in 2012 was focused on that, of course was conducted in two phases that I will explain later. And last year we had to launch a new project because the problem with stability was back. So now we can start with the project from 2003, where in the first phase, it was a huge restoration project, but I have to see that it provides us with much more better results in another room than in a stairway itself. But however, different surfaces in stairway were surveyed, and the most important findings showed that the ceilings have been subject of 4 treatments over time. The walls also was painted several times in different shades, and the several layers were discovered behind wooden panels that was put in 1980s. And we can see it on this picture. As I already mentioned, the most demanding restoration and preservation work in this project was performed in the pharmacy, in the ceiling, in the pharmacist's office on the ground floor, and on the first floor in the beautiful hallway and the dining room with the beautiful Japanese wallpaper and many other details that was made in wood. Here is a result of the restoration in the pharmacist's office, and additionally a detail of all in wood before and after restoration. Let us now proceed to the next restoration project that was done in 2012, where the first priority was to secure the staircase weakened structure. The main issue was related to the sinking and the threads which glided out from the string. To solve the problem, 2 restraining rods had to be fastened on the back side of the staircase here, and on this side they were fastened on the string, while on the other side they were fastened on the wall of the lavatory. They are pretty much invisible because of the size of only 15 millimeters and the appropriate color that was put in it. And here we can see also a drawing showing how it was proposed to be done. Additionally, cracked threads were glued together with epoxy, and some parts were pressed together with invisible bolts that were fastened horizontally. The surfaces of the threads were retouched, polished, and lacquered. The underside of the string were cleaned, retouched, and by using traditional shell polish method, and then waxed. Wooden panels that was put on the walls in the stairway in 1980s were not original and therefore had to be dismantled all the way up to the second floor. One interesting finding indicates that the wall behind the panels was originally grained. First time in a light graining glaze that imitated pine, and the second time in a graining glaze in a darker imitation of oak. Between these 2 surfaces, wall surfaces, was also discovered a decor line in a black color and about 6 millimeters wide. Here we can see a skillful Anya who was working on the restoration of the graining and used the finest cold-pressed linseed oil, which has been supplemented with 4 pigments: burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and alizarin. After the mixture had dried, The wall was treated with a similar lacquer that had been used on and applied on doors. And two more details. Here we can see wooden panels on the landing on the first floor, above the landing on the first floor, where we can see that forms and shapes are pretty much simple and also had been used in wainscoting in the dining room. On this picture, we can see an imitation of the wooden door that had unfortunately been sealed on this position. And this imitation is also made by graining and by using only a few different painting brushes. And of course, many other surfaces and details, such as the windows, lamps, door handles, were repaired or replaced by historically correct copies. But unfortunately, we don't have so much time today to talk about all these details. The phase 2 in this project was mentioned to open a wall under the staircase on the ground floor, and to recreate the window, stained glass window that behind this wall. But the so-called secret room was hiding two elements from the 1907 original floor tiles and original wall with the coconut fibers, which was usually used as such a reinforcing in plaster walls in that time. Reddish-brown terracotta tiles have an organic pattern, which is original Art Nouveau creation, so that exact copies of the tiles were made later in Germany and laid on the ground floor in a hallway. There is indication that this room was used to produce pills, and pills making machine created a good deal of dust, so that it had to be put in a separate room under the staircase. Unexpected discovering of the original wall changed the first plan regarding the window. The county conservator stated that the original wall should be kept, so that the secret room had to remain closed off. And on this slide, we can see this wall that had been put back and the missing part of the stained glass window that should be open. There is an interesting thing that Art Nouveau Center organized a public event during the restoration so that people could come in, see how work was carried out, and ask questions. Of course, the main idea was to raise awareness among the citizens of how to approach the restoration of their own interiors by using traditional methods and appropriate materials. But not long after the first reparation, the problem with stability was back. After few inspections, it has been clear that the main issue related to the stairs sinking had in fact not been solved. Hopefully, the stairs are pretty much stable between ground floor and first floor, while the major shift occurs between the first and second floors. From the very top, we see two different cracks in the second floor landing. During the first inspection, it was demonstrated the size of the gap by inserting a sheet of paper, but only a year after, the gap was much bigger and about 3 millimeters thick. Different measurements show how much the landing and string on the second floor have sunk. We can easily see the bottom line, laser line that indicates that landing has sunk about 23 millimeters, while the string has sunk about 40 millimeters. The steps are gliding again from the string, and the measurement shows a significant fall, reaching a peak of 56 millimeters on the 35th step. And we think this is really an acute situation that has to be solved, improved. The method that could secure this challenging structure sounds quite complicated. First of all, the open string must be jacked up, pressed toward the walls, and looked at in a straighter position. The biggest challenge in that structure is that structure must be pressed up at the few various points at the same time. In order to this, we must build a stable tower from the ground floor that extends all the way up to the second floor. The tower should get 3 points, from which the string should be lifted up, and 4 points for pressing it towards the walls. It is most likely that all this lifting and pressing need to be done by using special hydraulic pipes. And additionally, front edge of the landing on the first floor must be used as a checking point for the lifting up the landing on the second floor. All existing bolts must be removed during this process, and after it, the new bolts must be put again on the same places, on the same positions. This, of course, runs the risk of ruining parts of the stairs or walls, which might involve a new restoration work or even production of a new molding toward the wall, and so forth. This proposal implies also installation of 2 steel brackets, one on the uppermost landing on the second floor, and another one behind the string between first and second floor. The steel bracket under the landing has to be about 10 millimeters wide, and that height probably will vary from the 100 millimeters toward the wall and 40 millimeters on the other side. The second bracket should be fixed with the first one beneath the landing, and then on the other side of the string, so that threads to secure the threads which gliding out of the string. Yes, here we see a rough sketch of our craftsman showing how it should be, how it should look like. All brackets shall be given the same color as that behind the staircase, so that they will be largely invisible. In any case, it's entirely necessary to press the stairs as much as possible into their original position before the steel brackets will be affixed. Theoretically, this method could work well enough, but no one knows how much the stairs can revert to its original position. And we have to start with this work in January next year. All that we know now is that our experts, craftsmen, claim that this solution will secure staircase for next 100 years. So that gives us hope that the situation will not arise where we must control and reduce the number of visitors, or that we perhaps one day have to stop using the staircase entirely. Our experience confirms that we must continue with promotion and exchange of knowledge in addressing different challenges related to Art Nouveau interiors. And I believe that this network and such meetings are very important to achieve that goal. Thank you for your attention.